I've got here a Terra Master D5-300C. I've been shopping around for a while now for an external enclosure for my hard disk drives, and I think this one might fit my needs. It's just been delivered to me here at work, so I'm going to unbox it and film that and just put in some hard disk drives. And when I get home, I'll test it properly and let you know what I think about it. So here we have the Terra Master in its box. Reliable data storage, apparently. Let's see what we've got in the box. Okay, so first of all, we have a box of accessories. Just put that to one side for a moment and let's get the main unit out itself. So this is the back of the unit. We've got two fans on there, hoping those won't be too noisy. The unit itself is made of aluminium, feels pretty good. It's not particularly heavy. The front has a plastic finish, as does the back, and the drive caddies, again, they're just plastic. Looks like the drives have got to be screwed into those. So on the back we've got a RAID switch, which only applies to the first two drive bays, a USB-C connection and the power input. So let's just go through the accessory box and see what we've got. So we've got a power lead with a UK plug on it. Got the external power brick. Now I had thought when I was buying this that the power supply was actually built into the enclosure, but I looked at so many different devices, I've obviously got confused there. We also have a power lead with a European plug on. I don't need that. So we've got a bag of screws for 3.5-inch drives, some rubber feet, interestingly, but just two of those. We've got some stickers for the hard drives on the front. I'll probably just print my own labels. Screwdriver, that'll be useful. Some more screws. These are for 2.5-inch drives, if we wanted to put SSDs in or something like that. And we've got a USB 3 cable, Type A to Type C. We've also got a miniature screwdriver and what looks like a SIM removal tool. We'll figure out what those are for in a moment. I expect the screwdriver is for turning the RAID selector on the back. Now I recently sold my Mac Pro and bought a new iMac, and that's the whole reason for needing this external hard drive enclosure. So 3 of the discs you see here have come out of my old Mac Pro. I had 2 Toshiba X300 high performance drives, 4 terabytes each. In this new enclosure I'm going to have those as a RAID stripe, so that'll just be one 8 terabyte volume. Here I've bought a new 8 terabyte Seagate IronWolf drive. And these IronWolf drives are specifically designed for NAS or direct attached storage usage as well, I guess. So hopefully that's going to have some interesting performance. And the idea is that I'm going to use that as a backup for the Stripe drive. And then I had this Seagate archive disk, 8 terabytes, and I've been using that as a backup drive. There's a load of stuff on there. So I just want to be able to reconnect that and start sorting through that stuff. So now we've got all of the disks mounted, and it's obviously much heavier now. When we look on the bottom, we see there's already 4 rubber feet. So these 2 rubber feet in the plastic bag, well, they're just spares. That's brilliant, that. It would be a disaster if you lost one of those feet, and they do fall off, don't they? So that little screwdriver is in fact for the RAID selector. So the first 2 drive bays on this device, you can either choose RAID 0 for striping, RAID 1 for mirroring, or you can have it in single drive mode. And here's that thing that looks like a SIM removal tool. It is of course for the reset button. Now when I first switched it on, the lights came on for bays 1, 2 and 4, but not for bay 3. Bay 3 is the one that I put the IronWolf drive in, the new one. And the reason the light didn't come on is because the disk hadn't been initialized yet and formatted. Whilst those hard disks are being formatted and set up, the LEDs turn orange, as you can see. All 4 drives are working and the lights are blinking away. Excellent. So let's do some speed testing. And I'm starting here with the IronWolf NAS drive. As you can see, the performance is actually pretty good. The IronWolf drive has a larger cache than most similarly sized disks. Of the 2 8 terabytes I've got in there, the standard Seagate archive, that has half the amount of cache as the Iron Wolf. So if we test that old Seagate disk for comparison purposes, we can see it is in fact quite a bit slower. It's also, I've noticed, a lot noisier as well. The Iron Wolf is a quieter drive. Now, of course, what I'm most interested in is to see the performance of the stripe. So this is where the two discs are put together as one big volume, and we essentially get a performance benefit because there are two physical discs providing that one volume. Wow, that's a really good result. I'm really happy with that. As you can see from the speed test, I'm going to be able to edit 4K video using this RAID stripe without any problems at all. That's brilliant. So I've got the Terra Master back home and I've got it all set up on my desk here with my iMac. I found another 1TB drive kicking around, so I stuck that into drive bay 5 just to use as a scratch disk. So all of the drive bays are populated. And what I'm finding is that it's really quite noisy. There are the two fans on the back. They're not too loud, but with 5 mechanical drives spinning away and clattering, it gets noisy. It's in this age of SSD and nice quiet computing, it's quite jarring actually. What I have found is that if you eject the disk from the operating system, it will go to sleep and then switch off. So that helps to keep the noise levels down. I had some fairly specific requirements that I was trying to fill with this Terra Master enclosure. And I did do a lot of shopping around. Oh, it's just switched off. Silence. That's amazing. It does make quite a lot of noise. So what was I trying to achieve with my enclosure? I wanted control over my discs. I was just taking 3 discs out of my Mac Pro, and I ideally wanted to use them in the same way that I've been using them on the Mac Pro with my new iMac. I wanted an enclosure that would just expose those discs to the operating system, and that is exactly what this Terra Master does. In fact, when I put in the drives, I'd originally had the two 4TB drives set up as a RAID mirror using the software RAID in macOS. And when I switched on the Terra Master, that just fired up and appeared on the iMac there. So if you're looking to do exactly what I've done, where you're moving disks from a Mac Pro, the Terra Master is going to be a great solution. You won't have to reformat anything or do anything. Just put the drives in the enclosure, connect it up, and there they are. Brilliant. And I can see that also being a real advantage as well if you're going to move the drives from one computer to another. Being able to use software RAID like that is really useful. I'm sure you could do the same thing with Linux and probably also with Windows actually. It's been a long time since I used RAID on Windows, but I'm pretty sure you can do that too. So regardless of the fact that the first 2 drive bays have this RAID system built into the box, you don't need to use it. You can use software RAID on your computer and configure it however you like across those 5 drive bays. But as we can see, I did choose to use the internal RAID on the first 2 discs, and the performance was absolutely brilliant. I'm really happy with it, and I've since used it actually for doing some video editing, and it's absolutely fine working with 4K content. Works really well. A solution that kept coming up when I was doing my research is the Drobo system. You can get the drive enclosures, both a USB-C and a Thunderbolt, with 5 bays, much like this, load it up with discs. The thing I don't like about it is that it just takes control of your discs, and it configures this kind of proprietary RAID system where it stripes across all of the discs and provides a backup mechanism. The idea is that any one drive can fail and the system will still be working, and you can hot swap that disk. So that actually seems fantastic. It seems really useful, but I don't like the idea of not knowing where my data is and which disk is being used. And if the machine breaks, you're absolutely stuffed. Where's all your data going to be? With this solution, although there's a little bit more manual configuration, it's not complicated, let's face it, and you're in control. You know where your data is. One of the great things about the Terra Master solution is the price. I only paid £180 for it. And those Iron Wolf drives as well, an 8TB Iron Wolf is about £200. So you can load up one of these Terra Masters with plenty of storage space for not a huge investment. I think this Terra Master is an ideal solution for anybody who's comfortable working with their hard disks, comfortable setting them up, and just wants an enclosure that will expose those hard disks to the operating system. Whether that's macOS, Linux or Windows, the Terra Master's got you covered. If on the other hand you need a solution where you're just going to plug your disks in and forget about them, something more like the Drobo might be worth considering. I hope you found this video useful. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of my geekery, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.